So this is the latest I've ever posted a wrap-up. This is the worst month I've had in reading since beginning my booktube journey, but we're doing good out here. I'm happy with the books that I did read, and here's for July being a better month, but you never know. June was a bit of a sketchy month for me. Like, at the same time that I have this massive, awesome milestone of hitting 1,000 subscribers, in real life, I just had a bunch of things, like my car, just go really bad. And because I'm a grown-up, I guess, and I have responsibilities and whatnot, I just ended up reading less. But let's talk about the books that I did read. First of all, technically in this month's wrap-up, I finished the book New Moon. If you're new here, welcome. Hello. Nice to meet you. My name is Michael Knipp. I don't think I said that at the beginning of this video. With the announcement of the release of Midnight Sun in August, I decided that there was no better time than the present to try to read the Twilight series. And so I tried to reframe the brain that I was using to read through those books. And in doing so, I've had a really pleasant journey. I feel really good about the videos I've been making about Twilight, and I can link the playlist up above here. But in case you don't want to watch that, or you want to get a more summarized version of my thoughts of New Moon, I thought that it was fine. It wasn't very good compared to the original book. I still had a blast reading it. I just thought that there were some interesting decisions taken with the characters that I didn't love. This was the first book where I really started getting annoyed with Bella as a character, which I know everyone eventually does in the series, right? She is the character that makes most of the mistakes. But in New Moon, the plot is all over the place, and Bella is just incredibly dumb in that book. At first in ways that I thought were identifiable and fun, and then in ways that I thought were insane and could not be defended by any level of rhetoric or logic. But if the book was sketch, then the movie was even worse. Both of the Twilight movies that I've been reading the books and then watching the movies and then reviewing them together, both of those movies are awful. But the second one, New Moon, they straight up changed things from the book that made the plot make sense, and when you took them out, the plot made even less sense. It made the characters worse and less intelligent. And if I was going to name one bookish pet peeve, which I think I did in my Q&A video, which I posted earlier this month for my 1,000 subscriber celebration, it's characters that are just dumb as a rock stupid. I can't stand them because people in real life, listen, everyone likes to make jokes about how people are dumb. People are not as dumb as some of the people in these stories, I hope. I really hope not. In case you're curious, I am reading Eclipse. I think I'm probably around 75% done. It's been a slow go, obviously, as I said, but pressing on, upward days. Hopefully I'll finish Eclipse soon. And then I'll get to watch that with my wife. My wife has been enjoying watching these movies because she is getting the worst version of these stories. So when I try to defend it, I think she finds that hilarious. I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be. The book is this. I'm always that guy, right? But it's especially with these book to movie adaptations because they're so bad. Though I have heard that they get better as we go, so here's hoping. I thought that this was going to be a better reading month because there is a book that I read in one day. I just full on marathoned through it and I gave it 3 stars. How could I binge through a book that would be 3 stars? Well, I tend to really enjoy like murder mystery style stories or like thrillers in that sense. Sometimes, not all the time. I do find them compelling, but not like in the 4-star, 5-star range. It's you know, it's like, oh, that was fun, and then you kind of forget about it. But there was a book that I had extremely high hopes for this month, and that is a book that came out this year. It was part of the Book of the Month Club, which is somebody talking about it is the reason that I heard about it. It's called the Sundown Motel. Now, I am going to give slight spoilers for the Sundown Motel. I have to give slight spoilers to talk about my problem with the story. Now, like I said, this is a murder mystery. This is not going to give away anything related to the actual murder mystery. But it will give away information that if I had known this going in, I would have had much more reasonable and logical expectations for what was coming, and it may have helped me be less disappointed when I finished this book. So the plot of the Sundown Motel is that there is like this haunted motel, and at night the clerk that works there in like the 80s gets kidnapped, disappears off the face of the earth. In the future, another girl is working that same job and she's investigating what potentially happened to the first person, and they start seeing haunted things, and you start to see jumping back and forth in time between those two perspectives, and you explore the mystery of this haunted motel. Now, those things make me interested because I always enjoy a good paranormal in a small town vibe style story where something is wrong and it's kind of secretive. Like, I always enjoy that type of story. I've said a million times, those are kind of the things that I've kind of dubbed a Pacific Northwest story. Maybe someday I should just make a video about Pacific Northwest stories to me. But the whole thing was my vibe. And the thing, when I hear that type of thing, especially in a modern thriller, my first instinct is to say, oh, it's gonna be some type of Scooby-Doo bullcrap. Like, that is my pet peeve for things that tease supernatural elements. I hate it when someone has supernatural elements teased in a story, and then it turns out just being freaking, somebody rips off the mask and it was all robots or something dumb. I hate when you give me the bait of a supernatural story and it's all explained logically. There was a big book last year that got a lot of hype that I had beef with because of it, and like that was the thing. It seemed like it was so cool and interesting, and then ended up all being real and explainable in real life, and that's cool because lots of people love those stories. That's not me though. I will say, going into this book, I asked a lot of people that were talking about it on Booktube, are the supernatural elements real? Because if I find out that they're not, I'm going to be extremely disappointed, and it will change me from wanting to read this so bad to I can maybe never read this and be okay. I will say, as everyone said, the supernatural elements in the story are real. There is nothing to indicate that the scary stuff that's happening is not real, and that is awesome. I do appreciate that, especially from an author in this type of book, where a lot of times they try to explain everything. What I will say is, the thing that frustrated me most about this story is, while the supernatural elements are real, it's kind of just a murder mystery, and if the supernatural elements were completely removed, nothing would really change. So yeah, there is spooky crap happening, but it's completely irrelevant, or basically irrelevant to the actual plot beats of the story, and so it was just kind of a fun murder mystery told from two perspectives over different periods of time. Did I like it? Absolutely. Did I love it? No, I was disappointed by that fact. Sorry. The last book that I read in, I almost said March. The last book that I read in June was the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen book series, which is called Malice by John Gwynne. This book was gifted to me by one of my good book friends here on Booktube. Her name is Leslie at The Nerdy Narrative. Go check out her channel. She is a super awesome member of this community. Also, I'm so thankful for this book because it was one that I had kind of been putting off, and I'm glad that I didn't, and now I really want to continue on with the rest of the series. Malice is the beginning of an epic fantasy story that is very familiar with a lot of its tropes and setups that just delivers really well on them. There's a lot of characters. There is a lot of politics and backdoor and scheming, and there's a lot of plot happening. And the elements that are mixed together seem to be drawing from lots of places that I've seen before, but I have seen them before. However, they are mixed up in a pile of book that is just super fun. I really enjoyed it. By the end of that book, I was very much looking forward to jumping into the next book in the series, which according to Leslie and many other people I've seen talk about the book at this point is extremely good, and that's the point where you are just completely hooked. At this point, I kind of feel like I'm just a sucker for epic fantasy, and I will eat anything that is put in front of me in that genre. I'm now finding myself trying to combat that a little bit by trying to read other things on the channel. At least I have Twilight right now, pushing that back a little bit. Other updates on the channel that I want to talk about include, I hit 1,000 subscribers. That is amazing. Thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Thank you so much for making this experience so wonderful for me. I hope that I can continue providing entertaining content for you in the future. I made a giant Q&A video. If you want to watch that, I'll link it up above. But yeah, a bunch of people sent in a ton of questions, and I tried to answer them all. Additionally, I continued on with #StormAlong2020, which is the Stormlight Archive read-along that is hosted by Christy Lewis, Dostoevsky in Space. You should go check out her channel. Check out the other co-hosts for the channel, A Musical Bookworm and Seeking Stories. I'm going to link all of those down below. But we are reading through the Stormlight Archives at a very digestible pace. We're about halfway through The Way of Kings, and the next live stream will be up to the 75% mark of The Way of Kings. And we do live streams of those every other week. Those are hosted over on Christy's channel, and we just recorded the second one. We just recorded the part up through halfway through the book. It was extremely fun. Thank you everyone for joining, and if you are interested in doing that, I will list the schedule for the additional live streams down below as well. I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel, subscribing to my channel, commenting below. I want to thank everyone again for the awesome experience I've had on this community. I'm hoping that this month is going to be a better reading month for me. I'm hoping to be able to make some videos that make you laugh or make make you think or just, are entertaining in some way at all. Maybe you could just laugh at me instead of with me. I hope you had a good 4th of July if you live in the States and you celebrate that. If you live in a state that allows fireworks, I hope you have all 10 of your fingers. If you've noticed that I have any dark stains on my hands, my state does allow fireworks. Here's hoping for a good reading month. Love you guys. Bye.
Sleep, no one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired.